All right, on to number 6. Engage, convert, and maximize by using digital media to be human. And this was one, our president originally put this one together, and I had to tweak this a little bit because I wanted to add a little piece to this that I find very relevant. His piece is the bottom one, so I'm going to talk about my piece first. Understand that your customers are human as well. All right. So often what we run into is that we forget, whether you're B2B or B2C, we forget that the people that we're working with are also people too. You know, I read a really cool article, and I completely forget who it was by, but it talked about, especially with small businesses, when they start working with businesses that are larger than they are, lose their personality and kind of turn into sales robots. They get stuck into corporate speak, they lose what makes them unique, and go into sort of, this is the box that I have to fit in because I'm talking to this world that I don't necessarily feel comfortable with. Well, people do business with people. All right, so it's using digital media, using email, using social media, using your online website, but still having personality too. Making sure that that shines through. I can tell you when I send emails out to people, and I know distinctly this has gotten me business because people have told me. I had a client of mine that I found because I drove past their building on the way back to the office one day. I saw their sign on the building and I got back to the office and I looked up their marketing director and I sent her an email. And I finished that email, and this was last year around the playoffs. I sent her an email, and at the end of that email I said, "and go Cards," with an exclamation point. She told me the only reason she responded was because of that.
Really?
The only reason. She said, I get emails like that all the time. I'm a marketing director. The only reason that you heard back from me was because you said, "Let's go Cards" at the end of that. All right? It's just how I play. You know, for some people that's harder. I use words like, "Hey, let's chat, let's get together, let's go hang out, let's talk more about this stuff." All right? That's just, I mean, I'm a big 12-year-old, so it's easy for me to be able to pull out. But don't forget who you are as you're having these conversations. Now, that doesn't mean be a 12-year-old. You know, fart jokes aren't necessarily great in business exchanges or, you know, putting stuff out there. But I can tell you that in an email newsletter that I put together that I send out to customers, I make a point of every time I put that together, out of 6 to 8 pieces of content, I always included something fun. It might be a video. I know one of the last ones that I did, I had a video of Adam Wainwright and Trevor Rosenthal singing a song from Frozen. By the way, they stick to pitching. They were terrible. Hilarious. It was the second most clicked thing I put in my entire newsletter.
They're not perfect pitch.
They're not perfect pitch. That's, wow. Thank you, Sarah.
That's my personality.
They pitch perfect, but they don't have perfect pitch. So that was awful and terrible all at the same time. Thank you. You know, but having that kind of fun, you know, and being okay with it. You know, it's allowing, and some brands are really good at that. You know, you see entire brands that have that personality. So it's okay to do so. It's okay to get away from the generic corporate speak and actually have real conversations with real people on the other end. Now, the other side of this, mistakes can happen, right? You can screw up. Social media happens all the time. I mean, we've all seen those posts and things that go out there, and we've heard about them once they make CNN and all that kind of stuff. But I'll give a localized example. So we work with a large nonprofit in St. Louis. It has a mailing list of over 65,000 people. 88, thank you, way more than I thought. 88,000 people, and they're new to the email game. All right, they converted from a paper newsletter to email. And before I tell you what happened, I want to say one thing fairly clearly. It is really, really hard to accidentally send an email at MarketVolt. And most tools, but MarketVolt, you really, really have to try to send something out. They sent out an uncompleted email. It had filler text, it didn't look very pretty, it was not done. To 88,000 people, okay? And keep in mind, a lot of these people had only seen between 1 and 4 emails from them up to that point. So they called us and they went, "Holy crap, what have we done? 88,000 people." And our advice to them, when they said, "What do we do next?" was, apologize. Wait, we have to send another one? Apologize. Say sorry. And so what they actually did, it was really cool. They said, in our haste to get information out to you about all the great things that we're doing, we accidentally hit send. And they apologized. And the best thing that came out of that was they got more positive feedback from that apology email than almost any contact that they'd had with any of these 88,000 people over the previous 2 years. They got people replying to that email saying, thank you for apologizing for sending an email to us. Think about that, you know, that the kind of power that something as simple as an apology, because people understand that we're human, you know. So being able to do that sort of stuff too, because we are, at least, unless you're a cyborg, all human.
Well, kind of similar story is seen at the Technology News, just launched a Spanish version of the blog.
Mm-hmm.
When they sent out the first newsletter, all of the Spanish characters were replaced by garble. And so that created a whole buzz on the news because we were laughing like, ha ha ha, like, seen in Espanol cannot even type in Spanish. So then they apologized on Twitter, on Facebook, and they sent the corrected newsletter with the proper characters. But that, you know, if they had sent it and they have not screwed up, it would have probably gone without so much media notice.
Yep.
So it kind of worked out in a way.
Sure, it can be something that actually generates positive buzz.
I'm not saying screw up.
Yeah, don't do it on purpose necessarily. But you can use an oops and convert it into a positive if you handle it in the right way.
And reach out to your media channels because there were people on Facebook talking about it, there were people on Twitter talking about it.
Fantastic. That's a great story. Thank you.